What up, my niggas? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's your girl Ray P. Back for another episode of the We Got Y'all podcast. Y'all know it is not just me. I am joined by my amazing, thoroughbred, cool, calm, collective, confident, congenial, cool ass friend, K Rich. What's going on, Kyron?
Ray P, what's going on with you? It's always a pleasure seeing you. Thoroughbred, that's a new one in the equation. I'll take it. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Um, Always a pleasure to be here with you.
For
Um,
sure.
we made it. We
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 made
we
it.
we 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 we, uh, we mustered our energy to go ahead and talk about the shop.
Yes.
Got this week and next week, and then listen. I don't want the people out there to make it feel like we don't want to sound like it's a task, but there's a lot of good television on.
Yeah.
And when you're subjected to talk about one of the lesser shows that's on television, no shade, no knock, it just is what it is. The truth is just the truth.
Yeah.
And if it sounds crazy, it sounds crazy, but we're just telling the truth. But we're here. We're here for another episode of the shop. If you are watching on YouTube, Rachel sent the reminder that sometimes you got to pop out and show niggas. I don't know if y'all watching on YouTube. Rachel out here shining.
Look, y'all, we recording on a Sunday, so this is a post church.
Yeah,
Nice.
Rachel out here. Yeah, man. Rachel out here shining on them.
Sometimes I do put on makeup, y'all.
Not that it's needed. Not that it's needed. There's been plenty of episodes where Rachel just got the natural glow. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. Sometimes you're just born with it. Sometimes you got to manufacture it. Rachel's on the former.
For sure.
I say all that to say, Rachel. Hey, the genetics goes a long way. But I say all that to say it's a pleasure to be here with you to talk about season 6, episode 15, Tower of Terror, directed by Justin Hillian, written by Mia Brumfield and Jewel Cornell. Obviously, the show was created by Lena Waithe, and you can find it on Paramount Plus. Please remember there will be spoilers and explicit content. And as I mentioned earlier, we are on YouTube, not just your audio formats. So you can check us out on YouTube. Leave a comment. Last week we mentioned a YouTube user who left a comment. We'll talk about that a little bit more because it was quickly debunked, the theory. Right. But if you leave comments, leave reviews, we definitely will shout you out in the show. We appreciate building this community. And as far as the episode today, the synopsis, Emmett struggles with his new normal. Rosalind stresses over her own safety. Victor weighs his political career and life with Fatima. Tiff makes progress with Alicia. The city is on edge for what lies ahead. Couple things in that synopsis real quick. Right? And then we'll get into our newly minted section of what the fuck are we doing.
Yeah.
Talk about the other few things going on in the episode. Rosalind stresses over her own safety. I think we talked a little bit about it last week, and I guess this kind of flow into our what the fuck are we doing section. I don't know what is Rosalind. Who's after Rosalind? Like what?
Nobody.
Okay. Am I missing something that happened in an earlier season and I'm just forgetting it? Like what's?
Nobody is after Rosalind. However, I think that she is feeling pressure from association with Duda.
Yeah.
That could be the only thing because there's literally nobody after her except for Marina. Is that her name? Karina?
Yeah, I think. That's not us, man. That's the shot for popular characters in and out. You know, barely seen them. Shout out to Jada. We get her for a scene this episode.
We do.
I don't know what we've been doing with Jada this season, but
nothing.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into our what the fuck are we doing category.
Let's roll.
It's not as intense as last week. Last week was a
crazy
shit show. And I realized, Rachel, that it's not even what the fuck are we doing. It's the scenes that we get of certain things. They're just not layered. They're not layered enough to make us care, or the stories aren't developed enough. And I've said this before while we've recorded this season. You have too many things going on for for there to only be one episode left. So like, there's some of these storylines don't need to be talked about. Like, you're not going to wrap them up. If you're developing them for season 7, that's fine. But let's get to the big shit. Like, I don't understand why we're doing some of these other things. But the first one I have is Shad and Alicia, just because that first scene with them, that easy like a Saturday morning, slow jams in the robes, dancing. Like, that was just like, how did we get here? How did we get here?
Hey, Alicia said, I ain't had no nigga up in this house for a little minute. I'm gonna make the best of it.
It looks like one of those like prescription drug commercials.
For sure.
Everybody's seen like the allergy commercial or the whatever commercial where you just got random shit going on. People in the woods riding a bike and in the sunshine on the beach. That's how they looked in the living room. Like, it looked like a segment of that. And you can go ahead and just plug and play. Shout out to Jason Weaver though, because he gets to kiss Lynn Whitfield every episode. I don't care what point of life Lynn Whitfield is in. Shout out to her.
She's a beautiful,
but it is a beautiful woman. But yeah, all the giggling and laughing and shit. It was just, you just met him at Darnell's. Or no, excuse me. Him and Darnell were just at your crib fixing something. And all of a sudden, we went from the jacket to now y'all here dancing. Like, that's your woman.
That's your woman. You really like him. Crazy.
Yeah, and then go ahead.
Does Alicia like him, or is she just happy to have a nigga in her bed?
I think it's the latter. And the reason I say that is because of what Shad told Trig. Mm-hmm. And what Shad did in that same scene. So he kind of stopped and said, your ex-husband just got murdered. And she was like, I'd rather do something about it. Like, do you want to talk about it? No, I'd rather do something about it. And she wants to avenge the death. She's not speaking on it. Obviously, for anybody else, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Your ex-husband just got murdered. I feel like Shad is almost the viewers in this situation, but we're still waiting for someone to really talk about this grand opening, grand closing with this character.
For sure.
And he even told Trig that he's kind of not put off. It's a little concerning that she doesn't care. Like, she's cold-blooded, but he still loves her. He said he thinks he loves her. And
crazy.
Once again, that escalated quickly. Whatever. Shad and Alicia is just one of those, like, all right, whatever. This isn't going to last, so I guess
and for sure. What I will say too, though, is at least we know now that she ain't gonna try to have Shad killed Duda, which is what I thought initially.
I initially thought that too.
Yeah.
We'll talk about who I think is gonna kill Duda.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do that. Second thing, Nina leaving Chicago to go with LaPortia. Talked about this last week. Even though they gave us a little bit more this episode, this is where we saw a scene with Jada, them talking things over. It seems like it's an exit plan for Nina's character.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she's not going to be around in season 7, and they need to exit her character out gracefully. Mm-hmm. Which is cool if that's the case. It just seems a little bit odd. Like, I don't know, Rachel. When would you, in similar situation, to drop everything and travel the city with your person you don't really know like that? Is that a midlife crisis? Is she having a midlife crisis?
I'm just a girl. In the lowest of keys, because I'm just a ridiculous ass person, I probably would do some dumbass shit like this. If I knew my bills would be paid in my leave of absence, my house would be taken care of, I probably would go run around with a nigga.
I want to meet that nigga. I will say this: the nigga that had you running around like that, I want to meet. That just reminded me of a meme that you posted on your personal page. we ain't got to talk about it here.
There's only one.
Yeah, I know. I will say one thing about that scene that I did find truthful is when LaPortia was telling her, like, you staying here because you're afraid to leave. Mm-hmm. And that's a big thing. People just sometimes are so comfortable in their routine that they're afraid to pick up and change locations, take some risk. That happens to a lot of people. no matter what age you are. So that was truth in that scene. But once again, if you're writing Nina out, that's cool. Hopefully that was the way you do it, and then we don't have to revisit that anymore. This isn't a shout out to me. Shout out to you. Even though you're well established in that life. Shout out to you. Lala and Vic Mensa. You see, I didn't even put the character's name down.
Bruh.
Yeah, Lala and Vic Mensa.
And this fucking soliloquy about being, that's what's wrong with y'all. Why y'all single? Y'all don't want a nigga that's trying. Nigga, you don't have a home.
At this
in a halfway house. Let me tell you, I started in my brief time on the apps. I met this man, and he was decent looking, enough. And we were talking, and this and the third, and he started saying something about walking. I'm like, oh, for your exercise? Cool. And he was like, nah, I don't have a car. Charlotte is not a walk. I mean, it's walkable like for your exercise, but it's not somewhere where you just don't have a car. We have the CAT system, but it's not like a mass transit city. And I was like, well, I just feel like you need to focus on that first.
Focus on yourself. No, that's real. I don't think people talk about that enough when it comes to dating. You should have, like, if you're, I'll speak for me personally, life ain't in order, finances, all that. Like, there's no, if I'm barely staying afloat, then why would I spend the extra money on dating? Especially when it's something that I'm not even know if it's going a certain way. It's just hustling backwards.
This should be the last thing on your mind.
Yeah, man. Hov got a quote for everything. Pay your taxes, you niggas hustling backwards.
Period.
Like, straight up. Take care of your bread first, and then the infamous quote, you never lose money chasing women. You'll always lose, what is it? You'll never lose women chasing money. You'll always lose money chasing women. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that can go both ways. That can go for women and men, whatever's going on. But either way, that is one of my big issues with the show. They have so many, and it makes sense. It's funny because, once again, talking about Lena, and I think about Queen of Slim, and there's so many of those those moments where it's just like, all right, like, just take the book and just slam us in the head with it. Like, we get it. All right, I get it. Gemma and Maisha telling Lene that Brittany's spied on Kari. I know it's a big storyline. I'm not saying I don't care about it. It doesn't necessarily meet the standards of what the fuck are we doing. But the scene itself was just a little bit.
It was the way they went about it.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, you didn't have to do it like that.
Yeah, but again, they're kids. But also, who else is gonna tell them? Of course, it's gonna get Brittany. It's gonna know how it got back that she works for Duda. You've only told Gemma and Maisha.
Right. Same way with our issue with Duda discussing the book with Picard. Like, there's only one person he could have known that from.
Right.
Or three, technically three. It could have been Professor Gardner, Lene, or Brittany. And we know Professor Gardner and Lene wouldn't say it. So it is what it is. And my biggest, probably first place for 2 weeks in a row. My biggest what the fuck are we doing moment. Damien and Jackie Long. We still don't know Jackie Long's character's name. Right? So I'm not doing this out of disrespect, but we just don't know this brother's name.
Man.
It went from I did a bid for you to
you
now Damien was fucking his wife or his soon to be wife. Damien don't even strike me as the type.
How old is Damien? About the same age as Emmett. Jackie Long is 20 years older than them.
You see Jake out here getting it in.
Oh my God. Fair. We do not need this. What the fuck is this?
Listen, I will say, as a man, if Damien pulled my girl, I would have a real come to Jesus moment. Like, there would be a lot of things in my life I need to. It's some I think I've talked, I don't know if it was this podcast or another episode we've done a lot of recording over our time. But I mentioned something about this. There are certain, what a nigga look like that get chicks, and they could probably,
sure.
got a mouthpiece, whatever the case is. There are some, I'm not gonna say you charge it to the game, but it's a little bit easier to understand. But what infuriates us men is a nigga like that. Like he bagged you. Like that's like if DJ Academics bagged your girl. Like what? Like what? If Nuck bag, I was talking about Nuck. Like, because if Nuck bag my girl, I'm gonna be whatever. But I understand, I get it. That's what I'd expect. Like, sure, this ain't his first rodeo. Whatever. Charge it to the game. Sure. Damien, nah, I got issues. Now I look at you funny. I look at you real sideways. Like you a loser. You a loser if you gave Damien tonight. Straight up.
And be clear, I would definitely go see what Nuck is talking about. But Damien, absolutely not. And not that he's ugly. He just looks like a little boy.
He doesn't look bad. He looks bad. He ain't nothing about him. It's not even his look. It's just the way he carries. There's nothing about the way he carries himself that makes me think like you're a threat to my woman.
Right.
And like you out here fucking Jackie Long's wife, and you breaking me off some extra. Cooking the books, right? All right, bro. Like, what are we doing?
Why? Y'all, this shit is so ridiculous. And it's crazy because I love the Shy. And I'm trying not to compare it to his former glory, but we don't need any of this.
None of it whatsoever.
It's not germane to the main part of the stories. Even if you want to add good B and C plots, this is not one of them. Okay, we're meeting Damien. We learned that there was more to him than we thought. Okay. We don't need him being harassed by Jackie Long in this downtrodden, rugged accent.
The accent, I think, is part of
it. What you say?
The accent is part of it.
It is.
That's part of the reason. The fact that once again we don't even know this character's name.
Yeah.
Like what are we doing? Who are you? How is this supposed to wrap up next episode? I will say this, for all the shit that we talking, I am very curious to see how this finale goes. I just want to see how they land the plane.
Yeah. It's gonna be
a land the plane. It's gonna be a what?
It's gonna be a cliffhanger. I was gonna say there's no way to wrap this up in one more episode, but low key, given what we've been given, they just might throw some random, oh yeah, this is resolved. It'll be like a throwaway line. Oh yeah, that was resolved. What?
I mean, listen, whatever. But yeah, the whole Damien, it's almost it's bad to the point where I'm almost entertained by it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of finding myself getting invested. Like I want to see what level of ridiculousness that they're going to take that storyline to next.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, in an odd roundabout way, I am kind of intrigued with it. But it's one of the most ridiculous. And this show has done a lot of ridiculous things. This is one of the most ridiculous storylines I've seen.
And if Jackie Long knows that Duda owns the restaurant, why would you be playing with Duda's money?
Yeah, see, he wants Damien to play with Duda's money. Damien owes him. I did 6 years to you, nigga. Did 6 years and you fucked my wife. I'm trying to do his voice.
Yeah, that's how it sounds. It sounds crazy. Oh Lord. Crazy.
But anyway, that's just our quick. What are we doing? More ridiculousness from this episode. But let's get into some of the main talking points. And I guess the theme, it's Thanksgiving time.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago is getting ready for Thanksgiving. Tiff and Rob, we open up the episode with Tiff, Rob, Emmett, Keisha debating on who's going to host. Rob really wants to host. Tiff says she's down for it. Keisha doesn't want to host, so we're at Tiff and Rob's house for Thanksgiving. We do see Tiff trying to connect with Rob about Alonzo's passing. There's no real conversation about it. I mentioned last week that maybe they'll save the discussion about Alonzo for Rob's character. Since we didn't see him last week, and now that we see him, we know that it's just is what it is, which infuriates me even further that we have a character like Alonzo who could have been a big piece of this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Why even have Trigger arrested at this point? Like, the whole thing was just
for no reason. So we could bring back Fatima. Okay, she just didn't have to leave. Y'all could have written something for her and the girls germane to the story, her showing up for him. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Just unnecessary. Just unnecessary.
Yeah.
But
and this episode, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, it was unrelated to them, but I was going to say this episode in regards to the Thanksgiving of it all reminded me, and I wonder, I believe it to be intentional. There was a Thanksgiving episode of the Cosby Show where Cliff keeps forgetting stuff at the store, like, oh, I didn't get the eggs. Oh, we need cornmeal. Oh, we need this and the third. And it's like pouring, raining outside, and Claire just keeps sending them back out. Rob having to go to the store 11 times immediately reminded me of that episode of the Cosby Show. And I just wondered if it was intentional given, the whole Hillman connection.
I'm sure it was. Absolutely. I'm definitely sure it was. Because of what you said, Hillman Grad Productions. Makes complete sense. That's like if I wrote something and I would have Martin references and Wire references and all types of stuff just out of homage. So I get it. Alicia came over to the house midway through the episode. She's gonna be the one cooking. I don't eat everyone's food.
Fair.
Very fair. Very fair. We ain't doing potluck style. I'll go ahead and cook. We'll get this rolling. And Tiff opens up to Alicia about wanting Rob to open up and how she can help. And I thought that was a good scene and a good conversation between them. Her kind of giving some insight about, Rob was always a quiet child, and when his dad left, he was even more quiet. But when he speaks, it means something. So when he's ready, he will come to you. All you got to do is be ready for him. Like, don't try to force a hand. If you try to force it, it's going to go worse. I get that. I understand that type of personality. Just kind of let people be what they are. And then once they're ready to talk, they'll talk.
For sure.
So I thought that was pretty cool in regards to that part of it. Also, in the theme of Thanksgiving, talk about in the synopsis, Emmett adjusting to his new normal. Well, Keisha asked Nut what he's doing for Thanksgiving.
Big Daddy needs a plate.
He said, Nut said, I'm trying to, I'm gonna find a place somewhere. I'm gonna work it out. Which lets you know I'm really just out here. Thanksgiving is just another day. I know there's gonna be some food somewhere, and I'm gonna try to see if I can work my way into it. And Keisha says, "Come through, come through." And Emmett hating ass. Go ahead.
This be where bitches be doing too much. First off, why would you invite Nook to Tiff's house, Tiff and Emmett, where you Tiff and Rob, where you basically deboed your way into their business?
Well, let me ask you this. I thought about that. Does Keisha know that? Keisha might be the last one that doesn't know that Nook is taking a piece of that business.
It don't matter.
Okay.
Run it by me before you invite the fucking hood nigga to my Thanksgiving dinner.
That's yours.
Not mine.
That's yours. Yeah, Tips.
Not mine.
Definitely.
How
Rachel got the seat ready and the to-go plate.
What you want, babe? What you want, boy?
Come on, man. I need that.
But yeah, that was crazy. Only because given whether she knows about that deal, that he runs with Duda. That Rob and Emmett tried to kill Duda. So I'm gonna bring his number one security or second or third in command henchman to dinner at your house. I don't give a fuck if that is your baby daddy, bitch. Are you crazy?
I didn't think about that. You're absolutely right.
Like, what are we talking about?
We just tried to murder the boss.
Just
invite him in our home.
Just the nigga No, you're in fear of your life because of this nigga. You think your baby daddy gonna protect you? He can't protect himself from Duda.
Nah, that's a fact. Rob just recovered. Just recovered. So yeah,
Right.
that is a little odd. Emmett, I agree with you 100% on the. Let's check with some people. Like this ain't our crib that we invite him to. Before we start inviting him out somewhere, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Anyway, like don't bring anybody uninvited to you. You were barely invited to my crib, so don't bring anybody uninvited to my crib.
Come on.
It will be an embarrassing moment.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the nice like, oh yeah, you can sit out here. I don't know you. Hey, I don't know why he brought you over here. I don't know why she brought you over here. She know I don't play like that. So I'm sorry that you got drugged out like this. If you need an Uber, you can call one. She can take you back to where you came from. Whatever.
Right.
I don't play that.
I'll even make you a plate to go.
Yeah, I'll make you a plate to go, but you ain't coming to the crib. I just don't. And that's a very. I feel like people either get that or they don't. It's kind of surprising how many people don't understand the solace that comes with being at home and being in your space and not having strangers in there, especially during intimate occasions like Thanksgiving and stuff like that. It's just a little bit odd. So I feel Emmett on that, but he wasn't coming from the perspective that you just spoke of, Rachel, where, for business and for our life and safety, it's a bad look. It's more so like I'm getting used to this nigga being around.
Right.
I'm tired of this nigga being around, and he's not making it easy to dislike. Emmett might not feel like that, but Keisha cool with it. Like, this nigga showing up, he's being a father. He's playing with his son. Like, he's providing things for his son. Like, hey, what you about to say? Hey, you think Keisha really want that old thing back?
Keisha want her man back.
I feel
Keisha want that nigga back, bro. Only because go ahead.
Go ahead.
Now I was gonna say because there's a level of safety, quote unquote. And here's the thing: when Duda was making sure that they had a new car and a new home and this, that, and the third, Keisha liked that shit. Mm-hmm. She liked the ease of the things that dirty money can do for you. She was fucking with Nuck knowing exactly who he was when she was fucking with him and what he did. Shit don't fucking bother her for real. She don't want to be afraid for her life with the fucking boogeyman after her, which he will be connected to you, Emmett, because you have a fucking a target on your back. But Nuck, my nigga, who I just, he did me bad as them niggas typically do. But, I miss him a little bit. I like him. And he want to be a father. And he got money. What do you have, Emmett?
I do feel like a bunch of kids, which I'm going to bring that up here in a second. But I do feel like when, right after she invited him, and Keisha's ass told Emmett, like, I need to talk to you. She said her piece, and then at the end she said, I love you. She told Emmett to say it back. I feel like part of that was Keisha trying to convince herself. Like,
yeah, for sure. I love you.
Let me keep fighting the good fight before the situation happens. Now that I would be here for from an entertainment television standpoint. Mm-hmm. I want to see the scene where Emmett out doing something, and there's that little awkward. I'm reaching on the top shelf, and Keisha underneath. And I want to see that scene, and see what goes down. Mm-hmm. Because that's one thing I will say about Nuck. He doesn't seem like a forceful type in that sense. Yeah. Like, he's gonna let whatever happens, but he's also going to. I don't think he's gonna deliberately.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll play it if it's there, but I don't think he's gonna go after it. But if it's there, if I get any inkling, that you're trying to take it there, we can take it there.
All he needs is an end. That's it.
I would love to see that. Writers, if you're season RDO. But whatever happens, let's go ahead and get that going. That would be very interesting. Speaking of inviting people without checking in, we found out that Darnell invites Damien to Thanksgiving as well. That might be a little bit more absurd than Keisha inviting Nuck. Just for the sense, like, yo, like you invited him without even checking for real.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know where I'm having Thanksgiving.
Right.
His mama ain't cooking. Like, he gonna be with y'all. Where are you going? Are you gonna be with us?
He's grown.
That's what I'm saying. He can find him a play like Knuckles about to do.
He's not a little kid, that we have to bring around. I'm sure he has friends. I'm sure he has a community that he's lived these 20 plus years with.
Yeah, where you been, my nigga? Where you been all this time? You ain't never been to one thing. The only Thanksgiving you've been to was your mama's.
That part. I don't have to ingratiate you into my life at this current juncture. Not to this capacity. I already gave you a job. Now I have to let you be a part of every single fucking home life event. No, it does not work like that.
And for Emmett to Emmett got one more time to hit. Darnell said, "Man, that's your brother, half brother." Yeah, you got one more time for that. Yeah. Emmett, you not only are you too grown, my nigga, are you the pot or the kettle? Why are you acting like you don't have a bunch of kids who are half siblings?
I would say not one of those children have the same mother.
You get what I'm saying? So like, I don't get siblings. Exactly. And you wouldn't want your kids to refer to each other as my half brother.
Exactly.
And then that's your family. That's what you would teach them. So stop doing that today. I get it's a little bit different because he didn't grow up with them. Him and his kids seem to be growing up together. So that's one thing. But still, like once again, I don't believe in half sisters. We don't do that half shit. Don't do nothing. So whatever. That was just a little bit weird. Let's see. Let's talk about trade. Let's talk about trade.
Let's.
Luke James is. I hope his next role, whatever it may be. I just feel like he's an acting standout on the show. Mm-hmm. I think his acting skills are really like for what the show has been giving us. Once again, not trying to downplay it or discredit the show, but I do feel like his character has a lot to say, and I think his performance has been very strong. Him taking the leave of absence from the job, he needs to figure things out. I respect that.
Yeah,
I respect that. Sometimes, he said it. I need to make sure my house is in order. I can't advocate for mental health if I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
And being a politician, it gives you a very. We've seen a lot of political shows. We've seen shows where people are the president or vice president. There's a ton of shows with that. But even on the level where he's a counselor, just how much stress and how much public attention comes with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need that. I'm cool. And he really needs to take a step back. He done lost his girl. He got accused for murder, got arrested, almost got put in jail for murder, a murder he didn't commit.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, I need to take a step back and really figure out what I need to do. So I respect that part of it. Especially when you're in the business of service and you have to show up at full capacity to help other people in your community.
Yeah.
Like, cool, take your time away. His life is in shambles. And Shad is the one that tells him, ironically, like, go get your girl back. On the Culture Garden, Rachel, we have a category called Come See About Me.
Period.
And Trey came to see about Fatima. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, especially us as men, when we are down and out, shit just hits the fan. One of the things we got to do, I got to get my girl back.
Period.
I got to get my girl back, man. Especially now that this body is underneath me. It's in my rearview mirror. Yeah. Now that this is in my rearview mirror, we can go ahead and focus on our foundation. And they both know that they miss each other. It's hard not to when we've been together for that long. And Trey goes to go get his woman back. He goes to Thanksgiving over their spot, and I need my girl back, man. Let me talk to you for a minute.
I'm not mad at that.
Me neither.
I'm not mad at that at all. I love a good come see about me moment. You better pull up. You want a shot?
Pull up. And they had the little, wait to excel moment when Fatima was there.
The good man, Fatima.
Yeah, and I'm glad they were able to work that out in a world where it's easy just to break up and move on. Give it another shot. It wasn't. I think a lot of Fatima's decision was because Trig had so much else going on in his life. And she mentioned she didn't want to come second to work, which she already put the leave of absence in. And you see, it takes for a nigga to lose everything for them to like, I'll quit my job today. I'll do this today. Like I don't need none of this. Like I just want you.
I hear that, but I don't want to come second to your job. That's always tricky for me, especially when you consider someone in positions of quote unquote power. You're going to come second.
Well,
The needs
speak.
of that are going to take place. And when she, remember, she hadn't been um with Trig that long. She got with that nigga on the campaign trail. Remember, he
Mhm.
was with Tierra ass faking. So it's not like y'all have this long sordid past, you know. Y'all met, you did the interview, y'all clicked. Okay, now you have a relationship that y'all live together. Fine. Niggas be moving fast. I get it. But to think that there are times, and maybe not every day, but there will be times where this shit comes first. Because we need a roof over our heads.
Yeah.
Simple.
And you don't have a normal job.
Right.
You have like very you have office hours, you have events. Like your job is pretty much not 24/7, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
Any that you call, you can you know call to do. Somebody needs something, you're there to serve the community, and that's just kind of what it is.
Yeah.
It does take a certain person, and I don't even want to say woman because there are women who are leaders and
Mm-hmm.
politicians and everything else where they need a certain partner that's going to be with them to be able to take a back seat every now and then.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of what comes with it. And it kind of reminds me of, in a sense, as far as being qualified, reminds me of a preacher's wife,
Mm.
which is a perfect transition into Pastor Z. We talk about
Ha!
certain positions.
Shout out
Um,
to those fucking Zeke and Tatiana silly asses.
let me tell you something right now. I tell you, I started doing the research
Uh-huh.
on the young lady who plays Tatiana. 'Cause I'm going.
She
I'm
looked
going.
like yo Stilo.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's my speed. Yeah, 100% my speed. 1,000%. Like, what's up? What's the word? What type of games are being played? How's it
How's it
going
going
down?
down?
Straight up, straight up. Don't get me started.
I'm
Getting that shorty like what you need, what you want. Um,
because I
but
got
Pastor Z, because begrudgingly, did you have anything else to say about Trig? I really didn't. That was the ins and outs of this episode.
that's it.
I'm
Happy
quitting. I'm taking a leave of absence to get my career. That's pretty much what it is. But Pastor Zeke is begrudgingly hosting Thanksgiving for about, I think, 27 people, is what
Mhm.
Tatiana said.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know how black folks are, they're not going to show up at the same time. So it'll be spread out throughout the day. And we get the reveal that they are very much aware of each other's lifestyle.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people, I'm sure it's not a shock to you or me. That's more common than what people think. Like when people out here running around and doing what they do, most times it's not necessarily always a secret. Like
Yeah.
the partner knows whether they approve of it or not. They know what's going on.
Yeah.
Pastor Zeke seems like the type that obviously got the traditional trophy wife for his church congregation
Mm-hmm.
to make it seem a certain way. I'm the cool hip young pastor. This is
Yeah.
my life. Like you don't got to be a square. You don't have to be Stanley. Or not Stanley. You don't have to be Pastor Jackson to
Mm-hmm.
be a pastor.
Yeah.
I'm the new age traditional sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
I told y'all, you can definitely tell that this character was based off of the bishop in New York,
Mm-hmm.
which I can't remember his name. But just that, flashy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I'll drive the expensive cars. I got the jewelry and all that. But what did you think about Tatiana inviting Jake over to Thanksgiving?
Why the fuck are you inviting Jake to Thanksgiving? Are you dumb?
Are you Are you
I I don't understand the point of this. Why would you bring you're fucking not even just your little slide, but your fucking child. He's 18, but he's a child. Why would you bring him to Thanksgiving dinner? What would be the purpose of that invite? And I didn't hear if Papa was invited because, again, why are you inviting random? He's not a member of the church. So if you have him and Becky, I don't recall what her real name was, but
Sarah.
Sarah.
Her name
Same
is not Becky.
thing.
It's Sarah. Yeah.
With Sarah asks, at least there is a purpose in her being there, aside from her whatever role she is. But her father is basically like the fucking Joel Osteen or whatever of this
You mean
church.
Joel? You mean Joel Haley Osment? Shout out to Kendrick.
Shout out to Kendrick. So that makes sense. We know that he's trying to get big. So okay, I'm gonna use this to my benefit. I'm gonna have this here. And this, interestingly enough, this host, again, unnecessary storyline, it reminded me of the Greenleafs. Of Greenleaf. Because when I think it was called Heaven and Hope.
With Keith David?
Yes.
Was that the okay, yeah.
In the final seasons of that, there was a church acquisition by this man who basically buys and develops churches. His son and third white man who was bigger than everything. Another wolf in sheep's clothing, basically. This is that same shit.
Yeah.
Child.
Yeah. It's the same thing. And it was even the way that Pastor Zeke brought it up, that you invite your little boyfriend. Like I said, just being aware of her transgressions.
Yeah.
In that sense, and her putting it right back. Did you invite Becky? And him trying to hold that over her head, like, well, we ain't do nothing. I'm not out there. Like, Jay, that's your little fuck. I ain't done nothing. I'm trying to get in with Pops, which I would love to see. I would have loved to see a scene with Sarah's dad, because I'm sure he would have been like, why we got to go to this nigga's house for Thanksgiving? Like, who is this nigga? Like, I'm America's pastor. Like, why am I? There's a certain, all right, so there's just a certain level of, I don't want to say deference. That's not the right word. Just the way you do things, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you've seen it in certain movies or shows, the big boss don't go down to the little boss office.
Yeah.
My office is up here. You come to my office. I'm not coming to your office for me. It's just one of those things.
Tricky.
Unless it's something tricky. So it does make me wonder what conversation, and obviously I'm sure Sarah had to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. What was said for him to say, come to my house for Thanksgiving? Because I'm sure he's got a big house. I'm sure they do it big. I'm sure they try to keep as much melanin out as possible. Let's enjoy this time without some black folks.
Yeah.
So to be at a black Thanksgiving, if you're not used to that, can be a lot. It just seemed a little odd. Mm-hmm. So I'm very curious as to how that's going to work out. And we saw earlier that, we saw later on in the episode, there is something with Sarah and Pastor Zeke. This is our first time meeting Sarah.
Yeah.
Once again, like, please, anybody out there, and this isn't to the shop. This isn't to Lena, to nobody. This is for anybody who's an aspiring writer, showrunner, creative, whatever. Don't introduce these ancillary characters with an episode left in the season. Like, why? Well, what is this new storyline? Are we even going to meet the pastor before the season wraps?
Probably not.
What are we doing? Hopefully it all makes sense. I'm holding out faith that it all makes sense, but it's just a little odd. We see that Pastor Zeke is a little bit more cautious with his marriage. Mm-hmm. He doesn't, no matter what Tatiana's doing, I still want to walk the part of a pastor.
Yeah.
So if my wife isn't cool with you coming over, even though you're bringing your 18-year-old young boy over, I'm still going to be the bigger person to tell you, I don't want you over here. I don't want you coming. Even though he does change that once Sarah kind of gives him that look in the eye. Mm-hmm. But now I want you to be there. And then they go from there. But it was just very odd. The whole situation, the whole scenario.
Tatiana made note like, okay, well, money is your vice.
That's the
So
side piece.
even with Sarah, you see he ain't super interested, like despite whatever chemistry they do have, like I don't have to go there with you. But this money shit, this where I'm gonna get caught up at. That's very interesting because everybody got an Achilles heel. So I can kick his back in about like being a scammer. But at least you're not an adulterer, I guess.
Yeah. 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 Every a man gotta have a code.
Yeah.
People base things off of that. And it's a funny thing because people judge their transgressions off of other ones. Like I might be this, but I ain't that.
Yeah.
So it
For
is what it is. I am still upset that nobody's brought up this burn mark on Pastor Pete's neck.
sure.
Everybody's just pretending that it's not there.
It.
I don't need like a big deal about it. Just in real life, which when you get to these type of television shows, when you have shows on cable networks, your HBOs, your Showtimes, your Paramount Plus, your Apple TV. Shout out to Apple TV for just smoking the game.
Bruh.
But the reason why we love these shows is because they're as true to life as possible.
Yeah.
Like they're just realistic scenarios. Like if I was in this same situation, I would approach it the same way. I would ask these same questions. I don't know anybody who wouldn't just mention like, "Hey, you good? Like, what happened to your neck?" Like, at least let me hear what what creative lie does Pastor Zeke have to say about what happened to his neck? Like,
Now he got plaque psoriasis.
Right, just for somebody. Stupid. But just for that to be ignored and just be like, whatever. I don't know. It's just. We got one more episode. Yeah, one more episode. Let's go ahead and wrap this episode up. We're talking about Duda and everything Duda has going on. We see in the beginning, Rosalind comes to the crib.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to that knot on Duda's tie, by the way.
Yeah.
Definitely like that. Duda sharp, man. That's a
He's
sharp.
a sharp man. He can dress his ass.
Brother,
That's
dress his ass off. Duda, I can tell. Like, so when Professor Gardner, which real quick, let's shout him out. I really do love the bond that him and Bakari are having.
Yeah.
For this to be someone who's not even a student at your university, to you taking your own personal time, helping him out, buying him a laptop, helping him with his manuscript, submitting said manuscripts.
Yeah.
It being rejected and still giving the encouragement of like, as long as you living, like you have something to say, like keep going. Don't take rejection as the end all be all. Like sit up, like tuck you, put your chest out, like put your chin up, like bro, this ain't it. You young, like you don't even know what the hell is. Like this ain't nothing. You know what I mean? Whoop, like let's get it.
Bakari is really defeated.
He's defeated in life.
It makes me sad.
Yeah, even when he met with Lene,
the
first thing he says, and I've been in a situation where I've much younger years where you just got so much going on in life. When somebody hits you with that, we need to talk. Like before they even say anything, you hit them, yo. Like, I can't even take no bullshit. Like whatever you about to say, if it ain't, and like yo, like chill. I ain't even come for all that. Like just hear me out. But when life is kind of kicking your ass, I get it. I get what Bakari is. I'm glad Bakari's still around. I do feel a lot better about his safety.
Yeah.
Compared to where we were at the beginning of the season or beginning of the second part of the season. Because I really thought that this season would end with him,
getting up out of
in jail or, getting caught up. But I think he's pretty good. But I just wanted to shout out Professor Gardner and Bakari in that relationship.
Yeah.
But going back to Duda, Rosalind just telling him that he needs to lay low. You shouldn't be having any more bodies on you. And then once again, the theory that we discussed last week about maybe it was Alicia the one that hit up Zay and said, do this so I can control trade. Nah, Duda went ahead and said, that man threatened me, so I took care of business. It's almost like the Mad King.
Yeah.
To reference House of the Dragons, which we're going to be discussing on this. We got y'all, but just kind of, or Marlo in The Wire, when you just start piling up bodies for no reason.
Yeah.
Like everybody just like your answer to everything is killing. That's when you know you're at the end. Like you're at the end of your rope when you can say.
For sure. I hate that that happened. And Duda, we've known for a couple weeks now that he's losing his shit. Even the way that he has sex with Bianca this episode, like all that intimacy, and I still want Tracy, but I'm a fuck with you like I fuck with you for real, you know. That's out the window. He's definitely treating her transactionally.
Mm-hmm.
And she don't know what to do with that. Understandably so, because she, despite saying that to smooth out Tiff's feelings, she really fucked with Duda. She liked that
She
nigga.
does.
And so now you treating me like I'm not anything. This is hurtful. And this penetration hurts. Like, regard me. What is happening? This is not fun anymore.
That was that. That was yeah. That was
Bless that.
Fresh out of jail shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she even asked, like, "Are you okay?" You know what I mean? Shout out to Tracy too. We did get the Tracy side in this episode.
And we saw Tracy this episode as well. What's shocking to me though, but maybe Duda's been moving crazy all season. I'm surprised that Nuck getting this side money is more of a betrayal than Zay meeting with Alicia. Someone that you're actively trying to kill.
Well, that's a great point, Rachel. A point that my first question to ask would be, well, damn, what did Zay say to do about that? And then I realized he didn't say anything. We never got that. Never got any kind of explanation. We just got, I know you were the one. No, he didn't tell Zay. He told Alicia.
He told Alicia. Yeah.
So I don't, Duda and Zay Duda's never brought that to Zay, has it?
Not on camera.
So that's even more strange that not only, because you're 100% right, that is more of a betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
You just trying to get your money, black man.
Yeah.
If anybody knows what that's like, it should be Duda.
Right. I still might beat your ass, but I'm not doing all of that. Like,
not doing
well, now you got to give me a cut.
You know, that's how it works. That's how that works normally. Like, I'm doing another podcast about the Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's about the mob, mafia, and there's been plenty of moments where somebody made a side deal, and their duty is to kick up. Like that's what the mob. Shit goes downhill, money goes up.
Yeah.
And there's been moments where people have made side deals and they might pay it on the back end, but if they get caught, you better have an envelope with you ready to explain yourself. It ain't like I'm about to beat you up or it's whatever. Right. Like just make sure this shit don't happen again. So I thought it was a little bit odd from that perspective. Also, to your point, to go and ask Zay to be your number 2, knowing that he's been meeting with Alicia, that just doesn't sound like good business, like a good business move.
Yeah.
Unless it's specifically pointing to the fact that Duda's not with it. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I can't give that show this type of credit. I can't give them that type of credit of being intentional with that kind of move. So it was very odd. So Brittany had to be the one.
Yeah.
To tell Duda that, this is what you need to know. After I tell you this, I'm done working for you. She got the smoothest 30,000 ever.
For sure.
Because for her to not have any kind of repercussions, as far as we know, who knows what happens next week. But for her to not have any kind of repercussions for taking 30 bands, really not delivering shit except for news on the person I ain't asked you to follow, that's a heist. That's some Danny Ocean shit.
My question is, how did she know about Nuck's deal? You've never been around Tiff and them.
No clue. I'm trying to think of who would have known. Because Gemma wouldn't have known. Aisha wouldn't have known. And those are the only 2 people you've really been talking to.
There's no way for you to know this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it. But it's unfortunately that's just part of the course.
Yeah.
This season. Things just happen and we just supposed to accept it as viewers.
That. I was salty though. I came in here rooting for Big Nuck.
I texted you Go ahead. Finish your thought. My bad.
No, I say only to see that Big Daddy is not Big Daddy like that, or the biggest daddy is in fact dude.
Well, all right. So for those out there who don't know, Rachel and myself do not discuss these episodes
Yeah.
before we record. We just kind of keep everything fresh. Um, However, when we were trying to figure out our recording schedule, I made a brief mention about um, me being upset. It's not the fact that Duda beat up Nut. It's the way and the manner. I
Yeah.
just don't believe nothing's going out like that.
Right.
However, I will say this: when you are in a position like Nut, I think that's the reason why Duda squared up with you. Put your hands up. If you are Nut, it's a catch-22. You can't beat up Duda. You can't.
Yeah.
You just can't. That's not. It's an unfair advantage. You can't. It's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Like if you whoop Duda's ass, like we are probably sure Duda. Duda ain't no hoe. He ain't no punk. He ain't no sucker. I'm not saying that by any means. But I think if Nuck really wanted to, it wouldn't have went down like that.
Yeah.
But I can't just haul off and whoop Duda ass, because if that happens, I'm a dead man walking.
For sure.
Like, Duda ain't gonna let that shit slide.
For sure.
The biggest thing when you're in as somebody in Duda's position, you have to look strong at all times.
Yeah.
That moment you look weak, the rest of your crew sees you as weak, and we no longer need to follow you. We following up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You lose your position. So Nuck kind of had to take that. Maybe that was his way of saying I'm wrong, so I ain't really gonna fight back like that. He got a couple punches in. There's no way you can tell me Nuck being the nigga that he is couldn't have held his own. I'm not saying that it would have been a full on ass whooping, but ain't no way Nuck getting beat up like that.
Yeah.
I just don't see that.
Say them older men be crazy strong.
That old man strength. Nah, that's a real thing. So that's a real thing. That we call it shout out to Salt Barks, my dogs, man. We call it get a nigga up off you strength.
Yeah.
That's what we refer to it as in the group chat. Like, we get a nigga up off you. Like that strength is the strength that we want.
Yeah.
One of the biggest fears, shout out to them. One of the biggest fears as a grown ass man, and I think it's safe to say a lot of grown men have this fear, probably being number one, is being lifted off my feet.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I never want to be in a situation where I'm off my feet. If I ever got into a scuffle, where hopefully I'm not into any scuffles at 37, but if I did, I don't want to be in a position to where a nigga got me off my feet. You have no control.
Yeah.
And then it's over. Like, you going to the 12th and you coming right back down. Nah. Like, I'm not. I will go to the gym just to make sure that never happens.
Yeah.
And once again, that's why I said Nut, he let that shit happen.
For sure.
But as I said earlier, Duda ain't no hoe. I definitely believe Duda got hands.
Yeah.
Duda can be out here whooping shit. It just would have been a little bit more believable if that was Zay, Bakari.
Yeah.
Especially when you give a nigga the opportunity to square up. Like, you giving me an opportunity, you ain't ambushing me, bro. I'll beat your old ass.
Yeah. And the height differential, like, it's just
Duda that nigga. Yeah, Duda that.
Shout out to Duda.
Maybe that's that survival mode too. You can't listen. If a nigga back against the wall,
for sure. You
hear them stories about mothers, kids being trapped under the car. They got the strength to lift the car up. Like, when you're back against the wall, you'll do some shit you ain't
figure it out. Yeah.
And then lastly, we end the episode with
a car bomb.
Keisha, we got Keisha, Ronnie, Emmett at Smokey's wrapping things up. Keisha and Emmett are supposed to be. All right, let's talk about this. Keisha and Ronnie are going to the car. Emmett gets a text from Duda, time's up. Next thing we know, his car blows up. Emmett runs outside. We see the car scene, right? Most shows in the episode, without us knowing, that Keisha and Ronnie are okay. Of course, we're happy that they're okay. Yeah. We don't want them to be caught up in the car bombing. I just thought it was unless they have big plans next week, most people will leave with that cliffhanger. Damn, did they get got? and then maybe we can see the, you start next week's episode with the ending where you see them come out the
Yeah.
back and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was just very, very odd. Let me ask you this before we wrap this episode up: are we at the point now? Who is somebody dying next week? It's a major person.
No.
He blew up your car the night before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Something's got to happen. I can't just let.
You can't shoot.
Yeah, but I know people who can. I can't sleep well now.
Trig on sabbatical.
Ronnie, Alicia knows somebody. I'm about to go. I'm about to see her at Thanksgiving dinner. We got to talk. This nigga just blew up my whip. Ain't I supposed to have a 24/7 detail? Because they damn sure was with me during Halloween.
Who gave him that detail?
Alicia. When Alicia came, when Emmett went to go see Alicia and told her that Duda wants me to kill you,
mm-hmm.
she gave the speech about, you can't kill me. It's not about if you want to, you can't. She told him, the whole, I don't know why you want to be under anybody's thumb.
Yes,
and during that meeting, she said, you'll have detail. You'll have 24/7 hour detail. In the next episode, we see the Halloween, where when Nuck's trying to come in, he got the security stopping them. Security's walking with them while they're trick-or-treating. And where's your security detail, my nigga?
They took a break. Maybe they went to go eat somewhere besides Smokies.
I guess the one thing I will say, last episode was Halloween. The very next episode, we're fast forward to Thanksgiving. Yeah. Maybe something transpired in that time to where it wasn't needed. I don't know. Whatever.
Child, bless that. So I'm excited for next week just because I want to see the repercussions for some of these actions that we've seen all season. They've gone unanswered, questions that have gone unanswered. So hopefully they wrap it up nicely. I believe they will. Yeah, that's all I got.
I can't even hold you. I don't know if I'm excited. I'm curious for sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think the season is taking away some excitement for me. Mm-hmm. But I do want to see how they land this plane. I'm on record numerous times talking about how much I love penultimate episodes. Mm-hmm. Usually they're more action-packed than the finales.
Yeah.
And the finale is like a landing spot for all the nonsense that took place. And it was just underwhelming to me. Mm-hmm. It was just fragmented and just a little bit all over the place. Hopefully they have something big planned. We'll see. Still watching. We'll talk about it next week. We'll give you our final. But for all of you out there still rock with the Shy, shout out to y'all. We will be here once again, like I said, to talk about the finale. But if you are interested in hearing Rachel and myself talk about something, another show, House of the Dragon will be coming out this week. As far as our show, obviously episode 1 is already aired. Episode 2 will be aired by the time you listen to this. And we're going to go ahead and get things rolling on that side of things. So please say subscribe to this feed. Because not only that, there are other shows that I'm sure we'll have a brief conversation about. As I mentioned, a lot of good TV. There's a lot of shows we're not going to discuss episodically, but I'm going to talk to Rachel, and hopefully we can have maybe a random episode where we discuss Presumed Innocent, where we discuss The Bear, where we discuss Ghosts, where we discuss what else is on? Dark Matter.
Ooh,
yeah, a ton of stuff. There's just a lot of good TV on that is worthy of a conversation, even if it's not episodically. So we appreciate y'all. Rachel, I love you.
I love you.
We appreciate everyone out there for tuning in, listening. Please remember to subscribe, rate, like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Your interaction with us grows the audience. We really appreciate that. We appreciate having these conversations. As I mentioned earlier, write into us, whether you email us. All our information is in the episode description, and we will include you as part of the episode. We'll talk about your comments and your thoughts, and we'll take it from there. But with that being said, one more episode of The Shy. Catch us, House of the Dragon. Y'all be cool. We will get at y'all next week.
Peace. Bye.
We out.